Good. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Columbus County Commissioners meeting tonight, and we do thank each one of you for coming and participating. It's an honor. And at this time, I'd like to call Commissioner Charles McDowell to do the invocation, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be done by Mr. Commissioner Jerome McMillan.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you, Lord, tonight and say thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. Lord, we call on wisdom and patience to do the business of this county. We thank you for each and every positive thing that's taken place, Lord. We just thank you for allowing the pandemic to seem as if it is leveling off and decreasing. We thank you for all of those that have survived, and we pray for the families that have lost loved ones that are sick at the present time. We ask that you be with us as we make the decisions for this county tonight, that you help us to do the things that are pleasing in thy sight. And when it's all said and done, Lord, we know that anything that happens positive comes from you, and we thank you so much for it. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Let us turn and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4, approval of board minutes for February the 8th, 2021 board planning retreat, and B, February the 8th joint meeting with Southeastern Community College Board of Trustees. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner Coleman,
Second motion.
second by Commissioner McMillan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5, public input, Madam Attorney.
Yes, sir. We have one matter. This was from Ms. Doris Strickland. She says, I want to thank Commissioner Jerome McMillan for keeping the public informed regarding the drainage problem in our county. I paid attention to the ditches whenever I went to Whiteville last week. The ditches on 701 are horrible, especially near the Marathon at New Hope and continuing to the Whiteville city limits. I saw litter of bushes that look like trees growing in the ditches. Some farmers are responsible, but there are some who ought to clean ditches on land they own or rent, or at least clean up their trash. I saw what appeared to be a fertilizer bag in the ditch near the corner of 701 and Prison Camp Road. From Tabor City on 904 West, past Tabor Correctional is a bad area as well. There are trees in the ditches near the Tucker Coleman Road. There's no sense in allowing this to happen. Prison inmates used to pick up the trash, but not now. Sheriff Jody Green is to be commended for his idea of implementing a litter patrol. Hopefully this will help alleviate some of the trash being left alongside the roads. Columbus County might be labeled the Forest County, North Carolina, but our roadsides and ditches do not have to look that way. Tourists passing through Columbus County are probably attributing to the littering as well. Columbus County definitely needs to have a beautification campaign if we want new businesses and people to move here. Growth is vital for Columbus County. And that's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Item number 6, proclamation of achievement and recognition to Columbus Regional Healthcare System. And we have Mr. Jason Beck here tonight on behalf of the hospital. And if you'll come forward, we've got a plaque we'd love to give to you.
We got to go vote on it, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry.
Have we got to vote on it? We got to approve it, I think, before you present it on.
Okay, do we have a motion that we
I
approve?
so move.
Have a motion by Commissioner Byrd.
Second motion.
Second by Commissioner Jerome McMillan to approve the Columbus Regional Healthcare Facility proclamation of achievement.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Wake up.
Come on back here. What this is, Columbus County Regional Healthcare System has added ophthalmology to the hospital. And whereas for medical and ophthalmology services are available to the citizens of Columbus County, that are limited in their physical and financial means. This provides needed service to its residents and clients. And whereas Columbus Regional Healthcare System has added a new ophthalmology suite, which will provide previously unavailable services at that hospital. And whereas the ophthalmology procedures at Columbus Regional Healthcare System commenced in January 2021. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Columbus County Board of Commissioners proudly presents its proclamation of achievement and recognition to Columbus Regional Healthcare System for their constant endeavor to provide services for our citizens and anyone in need. Adopted this first day of March 21st, Columbus County Board of Commissioners. We'd just like to say thank you for what you're doing for the citizens of Columbus County Hospital, small community.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Anything else?
I'd just like to say, we appreciate your support, and someone mentioned earlier tonight about, COVID numbers really going down. We've been through a tough storm with this community, nation, state. We did, we are optimistic of where that's headed, but, so we appreciate your continued support and prayers, and then, on behalf of administration and Board of Trustees, we really appreciate this proclamation. Anytime we can bring care to the community that we've, been missing in the past, we feel like it's a big win for the community, and anytime we can provide care locally, we feel like that's a big plus.
We're very excited about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, while we're speaking about the hospital, Mr. Young called me this afternoon, and we had some conversation about a particular doctor that was coming to Columbus County, and he called me this afternoon and told me that he would be coming, and that is a outstanding doctor, and I'll wait for him to reveal the name or whatever in the position and all, but he's an outstanding doctor.
That's good.
Very good for Columbus County.
A lot of good things are happening. Moving on down to item number 7, finance, Saragordo School Construction. Dylan Bowen, Deputy Finance Director, is requesting board approval of the following resolutions. Item number A, resolution making certain findings and appointments and requesting approval of the local government commission. B, resolution calling a public hearing on whether the Board of Commissioners for the County of Columbus, North Carolina should approve proposed installment financing to finance a portion of the cost of various projects and whether said county should acquire certain school properties included in such projects. And C, resolution of the Board of Commissioners for the County of Columbus, North Carolina, declaring its intention to reimburse said county from the proceeds of one or more tax-exempt financings for certain capital expenditure. Mr. Bowden.
Yes, so these are just pretty much standard documents for for us to go to the LGC for approval. We're scheduled to go to the LGC on April 13th. And when all this gets approved, we'll proceed with the next steps.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bowen, is it accurate to say that we have to have our audit presented by the 19th of March? That's what I read in the paper, and I think maybe I heard Ms. Faircloth mention that as well at one time.
We've actually I've reviewed the audit. There was one document that I had to get the chairman to sign. As soon as I send that back to the auditors, the audit is the final version. They'll present it to the board at the next meeting, but we could go ahead and send it to the LGC.
Okay, so, but it does have to be
Yes,
there
to the
by
LGC, it does.
the 19th to be on the April agenda.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions?
You were talking about the tax exempt. I know like on a church or something, it's not tax exempt until it's up and running. Now, how does that affect the school system?
He wasn't expecting that.
No.
question. This is actually the reason why they call this a tax exempt financing is because we're doing it as a local government. The tax exempt part of it is actually for the bank's benefit. It's not for our benefit.
Okay. Have a motion for approval of ABC resolution for finance Saragordo School construction.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion by Commissioner McDowell.
I'll second.
Chairman, I need the date set too, the date and time set for the public hearing. That's not stated here.
Okay,
So,
It's the next meeting at 6:30 is what we're
so
requesting.
April the 15th
okay.
at 6:30.
All right, we'll add,
March.
March.
Yeah, I don't
15th.
want to get, I'm sorry.
Are we gonna make two separate motions, Mr. Chairman?
so we're going to add to this motion to have a public hearing at the March 15th meeting at 6:30.
Thank you.
And so have a motion by Commissioner McDowell, second by Commissioner,
I second
sorry,
He said.
Byrd. All in favor, say aye.
it. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Dowling. Moving on down to number 8, Human Resources, Amendment to Beaverman Policy, Bereavement Policy. Ms. Taylor,
Yes,
good evening.
good evening. The attachment of policy 400, section 18, bereavement policy. As of October the 6th, 2009, the bereavement policy was changed to state that employees would be granted 1-day leave for immediate family. And that does not, and not deducted from sick leave. So it would be an administrative leave day. So prior to October 6, 2009, the county had in effect 3 days leave. But when the new policy became into effect, it was changed to say 1 day. And I believe that we need to replace that 1 day and place back the 3 days because of employees that they would be allowed 3 days leave.
Ms. Taylor, are we talking about 1 or 3 days paid leave or just far as the bereavement being off those days?
Well, the 3 days would be admin leave.
If I'm not mistaken, Ms. Taylor, I think we discussed this and it was unanimous that we make this change at our last meeting.
Good.
So I don't know what we need to do now because I thought we did it then, but I'll be happy, since I brought it up, to make another motion if I need to amend our policy to include 3 days of bereavement for our immediate family,
Immediate family.
for our employees.
And I was not aware, I mean, it happened in 2009, but I don't remember anything pertaining to it, but until it was brought to our attention at the last meeting, I personally was not aware that it was only 1 day. And 1 day is not
It's
enough.
not enough.
I don't know.
And my concern, and I didn't know that y'all had already approved this at last meeting, was somebody asked to put it back on the agenda. But I was concerned about possibly carrying it to the budget season. And at budget time, let's talk about the extra expense it would incur then, because I'm very much dedicated to supporting our employees with a sizable raise this year. We got to up it all because we're losing too many good employees. And I'm just asking, would you be interested in let's carrying this to budget time? Because I don't even know what this extra bereavement 2 days would cost per year on the average of deaths we would have in the county.
I would love to handle it now because we don't know exactly how many families are going to be affected between now.
Well, what's the
And
difference? If you do 3 days, it costs us, if they come into work for those 3 days, if they are out giving 3 days out, the cost, if the cost is the same, it's
Well,
going to wind up be the same, Mr. Chair.
Well, they can get the days off, but we're only paying for 1 day instead of 3 is what the difference is. But that was
Well,
just a
I would
thought.
be in, I would be in favor of granting it and under the same circumstances without the pay until the budget. I mean, anyway, I feel like we need to give them at least 3 days.
Well, I understand what the chairman's saying. If we're interested in the welfare of our employees and we're interested in giving them a raise, Is it not the same to pay them when they're suffering the loss of a loved one as it is increasing the pay?
Well, I'm not saying not do it. My concern was just doing it at budget time, like we do all the other things when we increase expenditures and add extra expenditure. I just thought it would be a good time to do it because I do feel that the raise is the most important because it helps everyone.
Well, we passed it last time, so someone would have to make a motion to delay it, and I'm in favor of doing it.
I'm in favor of what we did at the last meeting. Now, that wasn't to mention, if we got to deal with pay or not pay, then I'm ready to deal with that. But we did say go ahead and do it because there's so many people dying within the county. About every week, June sends us an email of somebody, which is not always immediate, but you know.
You're right.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
I stand by what we passed at our last meeting.
All right, what was that motion, Mr.?
That was to increase the number of bereavement days for immediate family from 1 to 3.
Okay, have a motion on the floor by Commissioner McDowell to increase the number of bereavement days from 1 to 3.
And I think I seconded it last meeting.
Yes.
All right, motion by Commissioner McDowell, second by Commissioner Byrd. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Miss Virginia.
Is that immediate family only right now?
Yes,
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 ma'am.
that's the motion, immediate family.
It's the families on this list, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on down to finance. Number 9, approval of work order. Mr. Dylan Bowen. Finance Deputy Director is requesting board approval of work order number 2 from First Tryon Advisors in the amount of $50,000.
Yes, so First Tryon is our financial advisor that we used for the Whiteville City School project and the refinancing of bonds in 2015. Originally, it was $30,000 per school, but since they're handling both, they gave us a $10,000 decrease on Tabor City. What they do is they help us out with the RFPs for banks for the interim financing. And the deadline for those, we'll be getting those back on March 4th.
I move it be approved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Byrd that we approve the work order in the amount of $50,000 to First Tryon Advisors.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Watts. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, sir. Item number 10, Economic Development Resolution of Support for Grant Application. Dr. Gary Lanier, the Economic Development Director, is requesting board approval of this resolution for a building reuse project seal for $200,000 with a local match of 5%.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. On this one, we've got 2. This is necessary for me to be able to turn in a building reuse grant application. We don't know if it'll be approved or not. This project is confidential. We cannot talk about it at this point, but I need your okay to move forward because there is a local match involved. Usually those matches are included as part of our incentive grant that'll be coming. Okay.
Do you have the money in your 44?
It'll be, you know how we do our incentive grants they pay the taxes and then they get a little bit back. That little bit back counts toward this 5%. So it really is not anything out of pocket for us.
So both of them would be that way, the
Yes, sir.
10,000 for this one and then like the 5,600 for the next one. Okay.
Okay. Do I hear a motion that we support the resolution for building reuse project seal for $200,000
I'll move.
with a local match of 5%? Have a motion by Commissioner Byrd, second by Commissioner Coleman. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Gary. Number 11, Economic Development, Resolution of Support for Grant Application. Dr. Gary Lanier, Economic Development Director, is requesting board approval of this resolution for a building reuse project, Ag Blend, for $103,000 with local match of 5%.
This one I can actually talk about because the deed got recorded today. I've been working with a gentleman who is involved in the dealing with and consulting with agricultural based chemicals. And he has purchased the National Guard Armory building in Fair Bluff, and is going to put a soils lab there, as well as doing some marketing and distribution out of that building. It needs a lot of repairs. I mean, a lot of repairs. But he is very happy because he's got him a home here in Columbus County. And I'm trying to get him some help fixing the building up. It's lots needed there.
That's
I
good.
move we approve, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion by Commissioner Charles McDowell to support $103,000 with local match 5% for the Ag Blend project. Have a second.
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Watts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And I'd like to say thank you for what you've done on that. We need those jobs.
Yeah, and
That's
that one's going to do about 11 jobs.
That's still
They all
good.
add up though, and those 11 jobs are above the county average too.
Sure.
So,
And Mr. Jay's been trying to come here for several
You
years.
ain't
I know,
lying.
I met with him 4 or 5 years ago.
That's right. Yep. So it's finally happening. So.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Item number 12, governing body employment agreement for Edwin H. Madden Jr. is requesting board approval for the employment agreement of Mr. Madden Jr.
I so move.
Have a motion by Commissioner Coleman.
Second that motion, sir.
Second by Commissioner McMillan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And this is just using him for consulting information and making it correct on paper.
Yes, sir.
Just amending the original contract to allow that.
Yes, sir. Item number 13, appointments, committee, boards, commissioners. June B. Hall, clerk to the board, is requesting the following appointments or reappointments and replacements be made to the following boards, committee, and commissioners. Kate Fear, Rural Transportation Advisory.
Could I say something about that, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
This alternate is fairly important to Columbus County, because if me and Mr. Byrd are on the committee ourselves, but something happens that we can't attend, that's a vote that we won't get. It might be something that'll help our area.
Mhm.
So, it needs to be another commissioner. That'd be an alternate, just in case they have a meeting that something happens that me and Mr. Byrd could not attend. But it would be a vote for the county. If to represent the Columbus County. I went to a meeting today on it, and they said very unlikely anything could happen, but there's that possibility. And it's just alternate would just assure us that we've got a 2 vote on this regional board.
Where do they meet? Where do you meet?
We met today at DOT, right here
In Whiteville?
right here in Whiteville. And most of the time it's on Zoom.
Yeah.
They got a good Zoom system, and we've had our first meeting on Zoom and it went through. But like I said, it's pretty good vacancy that we need to look at.
And the years I've served on it, I've never seen anything when a particular vote went one way or the other. It's kind of like some other boards that you serve on. It's presented to you, and all you do is get the chance to put this stamp of approval on it. So, and I've been on it for several years, because it's the way it rates. And, the members don't have anything to do with the way it rates. It comes down with their projections and their drawings and all, which you'll get into later when you ever have a physical meeting. But anyhow, we had one before.
Commissioner McDowell.
Yes, I'll take that position.
Okay. Have a volunteer from Commissioner McDowell to serve on the Cape Fear Rural Transportation Advisory. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. Zone 3, and it's vacant.
Hold it still.
Okay.
I haven't had anyone other than Bobby to volunteer, and I knew right now she's so busy and will be with the budget. I just been
Okay.
holding it up.
We'll put it on hold. Item number 14, governing body. Columbus Regional Healthcare System Audit Presentation. June B. Hall, clerk of the board, is requesting a date, time established for the presentation of the annual audit virtual meeting. So it's time for the yearly audit with the hospital.
Ricky, for the new members, tell them about what we do. We meet out there and have supper and, the ones
Yeah.
that
Be virtual.
But this year it will be virtual.
be virtual.
And we'll do it over our computers. And what they do is just give us a yearly summary of the profits and or the losses and the changes they've made, just kind of keeping us updated with what's going on. Do you have any dates, Miss Edwards, that they can meet? Yeah, or any? Okay. Okay. Oh, Miss June?
They're waiting for us to give them.
Okay.
It has been for 2 months.
Okay. How about next Monday? Would next Monday?
Well, what we used to do, it's an hour ahead of the meeting.
Yeah,
I mean,
5 o'clock,
yeah, the-
hour ahead.
Yeah, the next,
Virtual may not last so long, but we wouldn't really need.
yeah, the next Monday we have a meeting. Do an hour ahead of the meeting,
Monday week.
Monday week. yeah.
15th, I
An
believe.
hour or 45 minutes?
Let's do an hour.
You want,
5:30, right?
Yes, ma'am.
you want to meet,
15.
Sir?
you want to meet here and all of us view it at one time, since we're going to be having a meeting, meet here at 5:30?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Here in the chambers.
Be fine.
You're in the chamber.
Here in the chambers at
Are
5:30.
we gonna have like one computer or we're gonna have it on screen?
We'll get that worked out.
Let's work it on the screen.
You
so
just get the
everybody
meeting
can see.
set up. We'll get the other
That
stuff
would be better.
worked out. Okay.
Who made that motion?
Have a motion by Commissioner Byrd, second by Commissioner McDowell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Recess regular session and enter into Columbus County Water and Sewer Districts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 board meeting. Hear a motion.
So moved, sir.
Have a motion by Commissioner McDowell,
McMillan.
McMillan. All in, second by Commissioner McDowell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 15, Columbus County Water and Sewer Districts 1, 2, 3, and 4, bids for water line extensions. Ms. Gil Edwards.
Okay, at the September 8, 2020 meeting, the commissioners voted to move forward with water line extensions on Frank Norris Road and a portion of Seven Creeks Highway, a portion of Clarendon Tavern Road from Rough and Ready Road to Highway 410, and a portion of Otto Nance Road, also Lynn Hill Road and North Lakes Road. Bids were opened on those extensions on February 23rd, and we received a total of 9 bids. The low bidder was Ralph Hodge Construction from Wilson, North Carolina, with a low bid of $1,323,095.20. The bids were approximately $43,000 under the engineer's budget, and so we would like to move forward with that bid approval.
Any questions? Have entertain a motion for the Columbus County Sewer Water District.
I move.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brent Watts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, before we move on from the water, well, we got another, but on item number 15, I've mentioned to Mr. Gary, but I've been contacted with Sandy Field that really wants that connection put in so they will buy water from Columbus County instead of Bladen County. Right now, they're buying water from East Arcadia and they want to buy from Columbus County. And then I've been contacted from Bolton wanting to get an interconnect put in, if possible, when the water line comes from the east area, to tie them in for safety reasons, in case their pump was to go out or have some problems with the well. Their people wouldn't be without water. We would sell them water at that time. And speaking with Mr. Gary, it could be very beneficial to the county as well as very beneficial to Bolton, simply because they could put in for a grant. We possibly could put in for a grant and take the 2 grants and make a lot of improvements happen on the eastern end of the county. Now, they asked me to meet with them tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock. And so I asked Mr. Gary to go with me. So we plan to meet at 5 o'clock tomorrow and talk with the town of Bolton. Now, Mr. Coleman, if you want to be there, that's fine, no problem. But they just called me. They mentioned it to me a month ago, and then they called me this afternoon. So I just wanted to bring that to the board so we'll be aware.
I think water's a big deal, and you know, I've been hollering for water at Prosper and in that area in there for years now.
Well, the first step was so we took over to Rigglewood, because now we got a grant to put in another well and everything down there.
like I said, I'd like it for the Prosper in Delco area, help finish up that also, because these folks are getting water. And I'm not being ugly by no means, but people in Prosper need to get water also. So need to somehow tie it all together if we can.
Miss Amanda might could give you an update on that, Mr. Coleman. She's here tonight.
And before she does that, I'd like to add mine in too, real quick, Samantha. Also, while we're on this subject, I know I've been talking to you here in the last couple of months. This COVID stuff has kind of thrown a lot of people off far as the water line extensions and getting the petitions and all in. But I do know, man, the folks on Silver Spoon Road, Bullard Road, and Joe Piver Road, all of those folks, I've worked, personally door to door on getting these petitions and things in for this water extension. And of course, they're on me wanting to know where we're at, far as on the water extensions. I just heard you read the list off, but I know I didn't hear any of those roads on the list.
The roads that we have that were bid out were basically the roads that we got people to sign up for,
Okay.
and they went and paid their $150 deposit.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, item number 16, Columbus County Water District 2 Old Dock Water Project Test Well at Guideway School, change order number 2.
Okay, just to give the board some background on what's going on, we've been working on the Old Dock Water sewer and well project since 2018. The water portion of the project is complete, and the sewer project is probably 80 to 90% complete. A well was drilled in 2019 near Old Dock School, and after the well was installed, and Commissioner McDowell can attest to this, we had a lot of complaints from residents with their wells going dry. So the engineer went down into another, or the well driller went into another aquifer, and the water that they got there was just not good. So he recommended at that time that we abandon the well. Since then, we have been looking for another place, for another suitable site for another well. Commissioner Bullard suggested that we look at Guideway School, and we have, and the state has approved that site pending results from a test well. So we're recommending a test well for that site for Bill's well drilling for $29,000.
I move we approve it, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner McDowell to approve the test well at Guideway School, change order number 2. Have a second by Commissioner Brent Watts. All in favor, say aye. Second, do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right. Columbus County Water and Sewer District 5 bids for water line extension into International Logistics Park. Dr. Gary Lanier.
District 4, this is the 16-inch line extension that is needed because we're starting construction of the first building in the International Logistics Park. And of course, we need water. We were and have, if you recall, put in a grant with the US EDA that included drilling 2 wells going 8,000 feet to the west along 7476 to put the 2 wells in beyond Livingston Creek. That we're still waiting on if we can get a firm person to go into the new building that's being built in the International Logistics Park. We can have them reconsider, but we can't wait for the main water line. So we just broke that piece of the larger grant out and went ahead and included it with the new bid package that was just open. And we had set aside, if you recall, what was it, Gail, was it 1.3 million, 1.38 million that we had said our part would be for all of it, including the wells?
Yeah.
But this piece is, what did it come out in that bid? Was it 300?
300 and I think 53,000. It was about 10% higher than what we had bid, but the overall bids were less.
So it's kind of like we need to go ahead and spend that 343, and then we'll revise our grant application to take that out of the grant, which actually may help us get the approval for the 2 wells. And we get somebody going into that building that's getting ready to be built right now. So we just need you to approve the bid so we can go ahead and get water to the park.
Do we entertain a motion to approve the bids for the water line extension into National Logistics?
So move.
Have a motion by Commissioner Coleman, have a second by Commissioner Byrd. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lanier.
The ATMC is bringing the fiber, and that's all the infrastructure for that park, so.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on down to item number 18, Columbus County Water and Sewer District 4, easement at Hallsburg Water Tower. ATMC is requesting a perpetual utility easement for storage of equipment. They are asking for easement, if I'm correct, Madam Attorney, to put some equipment at Hallsburg Tower on the road side of the tower.
Yes, sir. It is on the side in between the tower and the intersection
Okay.
there at Hallsboro.
Okay. And I think this was approved several months ago or gave them permission to do it. So they'll
And
hear
I
about
think they've received a grant to help with that.
They
And
did.
then the question came up about trying to move it on the west side of the water tank. And if they did, the circle that they drawed would not include it. So rather than try to go back to the drawing board and start over, it's more important to let's move forward with it. Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Your motion?
Make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Byrd, second. Second by
I'm here.
Commissioner Coleman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And
Motion
Mr. Chairman,
carried.
one more thing before we move, off of the water department. Miss Amanda, I've spoken to the guys here at Hallsboro a couple of times. They'll go there to bleed the tank off right beside the little highway and the gas station. And a lot of traffic coming through there, big trucks and all pull over. And I filled up the hole one time myself there, but if they would, please ask them to go down to the schoolhouse so it'll run in the ditch and go on and be gone rather than puddle right there around the gas station. Because where they run it off at, it just makes that whole area really wet and even a car bogged down. You know, so please, I've mentioned a couple times, a different one comes, so he goes the same place. All right.
Miss Amanda, I have a question for you, if you don't mind. The 3 roads that I just named, where are we at on those as far as with the petitions and all?
I think as of today, we've received 3 applications so far from residents within that area. I do believe Mr. Campbell has some other ones that he's going to be getting to us soon, for us to be able to find out, the total number of signups that we would have to make sure that the project would be feasible.
Okay, and if you don't, and I know you probably don't have all the numbers on Joe Piver Road and also Bullard Lane off of Broadway Road, have you gotten any petitions on those?
I think we've had 1 on Silver Spoon, and I think probably 2 on Fox Street. I think those are the 2 that we've had people come in for.
Okay,
Because we've only got 3 so far, but Mr. Campbell did advise that he had other applications that he would be bringing by the office.
okay, as far as Bullard Lane, some months ago, we didn't get anybody coming out paying for any?
We haven't seen anybody off the Fulton Lane.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I have a question. Where are we at on the fire hydrants in the Tabor City Fire District?
Several of those have been fixed. Unfortunately, over the last couple of weeks due to the rain, we had to stop. Just makes a mess when you're digging. But several of those have already been repaired. And now that things are starting to dry out, we're going to start working back on those so that we can make sure those repairs are made in time.
Okay, thank you.
I have one quick.
Question if I can. Probably tomorrow could be a good time. I'd like to get up with you and get the petitions for our area. I know we've had people filled out 3 or 4 different sets of them. And I plan on trying to have a meeting with that community in the upcoming month to get them more. I've expressed to them that they needed to be willing to pay the deposit and let it hold, and more or less put pressure on us to get it done. So I'll get by with you sometime tomorrow evening.
Just let me know. I'll have everything figured out for you.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question, Mr. Man. I have a lot of people complaining that it's awfully hard to get the phone answered at the water department. Could you tell me why that happens?
We are really, really busy. We have had more applications coming into our office than we've ever had. We're actually growing very rapidly. Unfortunately, some of our phone call situations is you have a customer, it's not a quick phone call. What should be 5 to 10 minute conversation for some customers do turn into 30 because they have a lot of questions that we have to answer. We rotate out lunches from 11 to 2, so you go from having 3 people in the office to 2 people in the office. They do answer the phones, it's just incredibly busy.
But I do feel that it is very important to answer that phone. It's a very criticized area by the public. And I would encourage you strongly to talk to your employees out there. And I think that phone call is just as important as a walk-in customer. To me, at my business, it is. I think it should be that way at the water department.
It is, sir.
So maybe you could take care of that for us.
We'll let everybody know.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Turn them as good as they can, though. I'm sorry, we've just been really busy. It's really hectic. We had, for example, one customer in particular that done an application with us today. We've spent an entire day trying to help her problem fixed.
And I still think if you have a customer that takes that much time, you need to ask them to excuse you long enough to answer that phone call. I think that phone call is important.
But when you're in the middle of a payment and customers, all 3 customers are taking a credit card payment, you can't stop and answer that phone because it loses all the information in the system and then you have to start all the way back over.
Well, I don't think all 3 of them would be taking the payment at the same time and not to where they could stop, but figure it out. I just think you need to solve that problem. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I think it's important to solve that problem. Thank you, ma'am. All right, any other questions? Adjourn combination meeting of Columbus County Water and Sewer Districts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 board meeting. Your motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion by Commissioner McDowell.
Second motion.
Second by Commissioner McMillan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 19, consent agenda items. Number A, budget amendment, and B, tax refunds and releases. Do we hear a motion?
So moved, sir.
Have a motion by Commissioner McMillan, second
I second.
by Commissioner Watts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 20, comments. Department managers. Yes, sir, Mr. Ledare.
Sir, Mr. Chairman and board, I've got 2 quotes. The hemp processing facility that is going into the former W.F. Cox hardware building in Tabor City. They're doing all the interior work, the roof and everything, but there's a big ditch behind that building and it is eroding into the foundational area of the building. They have asked for help getting it fixed. The town of Tabor City has reached out to a contractor and got the cost for the material and labor to basically put a large drain tile all the way behind that building. The town of Tabor City has asked if the county would cost share on that project to stabilize that building for this client customer. It's in total, it's $5,000 for one, and materials are $6,800. So you're talking about 5 or 6, 11, about $12,000. So $6,000 would basically be our part, and it could be funded because this is tied to an economic development project out of Article 44 sales tax monies. For our total would be not to exceed $6,000. So I thought I would bring it up. Brent's talked with him. He could maybe give a little input as well.
Yeah, I met with Mr. Leonard in the town, and they are going to employ, what, about 30 people?
Yeah.
And they have been working in this old W.F. Cox building.
The farmers I'm hearing, if they don't start getting paid for the hemp, they're not going to grow anymore. I've talked to several farmers at different auctions in the last couple of weeks, Mr. Chairman, and they say they grow it, then they can't get rid of it. They want them to come take it And if it passes, they'll pay them. And if they don't give them anything. Are you hearing that, Brent?
I have heard some of that.
So I don't know how, if unless they get it worked out better with, there's nobody gonna grow it for them on an if.
But it ain't this company here.
Do I?
It's not this company.
No, it's not that company there. No, I wasn't meaning that. I'm talking about they got to
Oh,
have
yeah.
the growers. They're the processor.
Is that a privately owned building or what is that? Who owns it?
It is, we did include them in a economic development incentive grant. And part of the reason they reached out to the town asking for help is because when they got in there, they had to do a whole lot more to that building than they thought they would. And so with the cost overruns and everything, they basically asked, can we help them with the drainage ditch out back that's causing a problem?
I make a motion that the county help them out.
Have a motion by Commissioner Watts to split the cost on the drainage ditch at the back of the building where the hemp plant is in Tabor City. We hear a second.
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner McDowell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other department managers?
I'm not gonna answer, but I was just, I know the board has already approved the, minutes, but for the board planning retreat on Monday, March 8th, 2021, I was at the meeting. I pretty much facilitated the meeting, and I would like to at least finish later that I was at that meeting.
March the 8th.
That was on February the 8th.
So we just need the minutes changed to,
Yes, sir, I was there, and I would like to let people know.
okay, you got that, Ms. Jean?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. We don't need a motion for that, or do we, Ms. Gill?
I don't think
We
so.
don't need a motion for that.
I'll see if I can do it.
Okay,
Almost correct.
okay. Sheriff Green?
Sure, y'all get beat up all the time with littering in the county. I'll let you know where we are with that. COVID is for our misdemeanor fining program right now. We up, ready to go. We have 6 cameras out right now on problem site. We want to start a campaign. Yard signs, billboards, whatever, let people know they're gonna be charged. I got a complaint the other day, we charged the lady. She wanted to know why Dicky was going through her trash. I said, no, I told him. From the side of the road. I go through people's trash. I see the side of the road, I'm gonna try to get a name. And we're gonna start charging these people. We've been very successful so far this month. We just let you know where we're at with that and what we're gonna come for.
Sheriff, if I could ask him a question.
Yes, sir.
Who dictates the fine for the litter,
General statute.
general statute? If we could get it raised up to about a $10,000 fine, do you think? I mean, whatever it would take to get something like that, because
Legislation.
it's no need in having trash like we have. And I think we've all had our stomach full of it and we see it. We need to talk to our neighbors because somebody sees somebody throw out the trash.
That's why we're educating on our website, we're doing that. See somebody look, right down the tag, we'll take it from there. We'll try to stop it.
It could be anonymous.
We'll handle it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Green. Any other department managers? Move on down to item number B, Board of Commissioners. We'll start with Commissioner McMillan tonight.
Okay. Just like to say good evening, everyone. My complaints are the same. I mean, it's just the roadways with the trash, the ditches. I know most of this stuff that I'm talking about is state, but still, when I'm out in the communities, the people really don't care, whose problem it is. They just want the things fixed. We got, ditches that we're looking at that just got old decayed limbs that's falling in the ditches with all kinds of weeds and grass and stuff. We even got some roads where the limbs are hanging in the highway almost. And I know I've talked with some of the state guys on certain times and they say, well, that's not really the issue of why the water's not flowing. But I still feel like, do their part, keep the ditches cleaned out, and then we can go from there as far as with our beaver problems and things like that. We just got a lot of issues now. And again, I understand that a lot of them's state issues, but I feel like that, we shouldn't just sit idly by. We can keep voicing our concerns to them. Again, on this water thing, everybody that I talk to, and I know Miss Amanda and them say they don't really get that many people to actually come in and pay. When you get out there and talk to them, they're quoting fines or $500, $800 that they're saying that they're being told they have to pay. And again, I'm finding out that that's not true. So I'm just trying to figure out where the dislocate is when they're talking with you, at your office, and wondering why we're not getting this many people to actually come in and pay after they, waste their time filling out all these petitions. I don't kind of understand that. But that's where I'm at right now, and that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Byrd.
Yes, sir. I had an opportunity to speak to Ms. Kim. We need, out at the health department, we need to make an effort to get these people that are shut-ins, that's in their high 80s and 90s, the vaccination. If it takes sending someone, and I'm sure that to the house, I'm sure that in many areas, the rescue squad, the EMS, or anyone that's permitted to give that shot would be willing to help. But I know a couple myself right now that's in 93, 94 years old. Well, they're not going to come and go to that hospital because, they're scared, or any other facility. And I was just wondering what we could do to kind of help get some in-house service to deliver that shot. Now, I understand you had to be trained to give the shot or whatever, but I think we should make an effort with our health department to get these folks vaccinated. And, I brought it up at the other meeting about we wasn't getting our fair share of the vaccinations. Now, when you read and look at the positions that the county comes as far as the most unhealthy county, we rate right there on getting the vaccines in. The paper, the headlines where we're, 5% from the bottom. Well, we're about 5% from the bottom of the most unhealthiest county in the state. So, we're not getting our fair share. Let's put it like that. Another thing I'd like to ask, Ms. June, did you get a letter out to the DOT at the last meeting? Because I hadn't received a copy of it.
You hadn't received a copy?
Yeah, I didn't. You didn't send me a copy, I don't think.
I'll make sure you get one.
Okay. And also, I talked to Mr. Clark one day last week about another problem. But Mr. Laverne, if you're traveling coming up 74 from about Highway 11 on toward Bolton, have you noticed all those potholes that's in that road?
Yeah, we talked about them today, and we had a good discussion about it. Hopefully, you know how it is. It's their attention, and they're looking at it. From what Mr. Clark was saying, it's on the radar.
And it's all over the county.
Right, it's all over the county.
But that road, handles the most heaviest trucks that travel throughout the county. A lot of them, let's put it like that. And it is really dangerous. If you run in and hit one of those holes full of water, you could go off the road.
It is.
And that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Byrd. Commissioner Watts.
I want to bring up the trash thing again. I've had some complaints on the trash sites. Nothing bad. It's just, I talked to Miss Amanda about this the other day, including myself. I carried some stuff out there and you can't dump it.
Carried what?
I carried some stuff out there, and I couldn't dump it. And I had some more people, me and hers talked about this, but I think that's part of our problem with the trash too, is people leaving there. They load the truck up and there's some things you can dump, some you can't. They leave and they throw it out on the side of the road. So like the sheriff said, maybe some signs. I guess the public needs to know what they can carry out there and what they can't. And the landfills are closed on Saturday, I think, right?
Some of them are. Maybe.
I'm talking about the landfill.
Oh, yeah.
So on Saturday, we got people, that's their people that work. That's their only day to work. And they have nowhere to carry their stuff.
At one time, I thought the landfill stayed open till 12 on Saturday. Did they, Amanda?
Yes, sir.
But what's happened to that?
We stopped that years ago because we would only have one or two people to show up on a Saturday. So we were having a large amount of comp time for employees to have to be there on that day when you only have one or two customers.
Could I say something? I know those trash collection places are paid for by us citizens. Why do they have pick and choose as often as they want. I mean, that's trash that we pay those folks to take. And a lot of times they recycle it. And that might be double dipping in words. They get a lot of good things out of it. I say good things. One man junks another man's treasure. But they get scrap metal, they resell the metal, plus they charging the county for opening it up. But they should be able to keep an extra dumpster or 2 extra dumpsters in there to accept all trash refuges. Because I agree with what Commissioner Watts is saying, you know, people are human beings. Sometimes they go there and they get turned away and they foot with it and chuck it on the side of the road. So if we could open these collection centers where they would take more different variety of trash per se, and or whatever.
Can I explain a little bit on that, Mr. Corner?
Yes, ma'am.
The centers are actually recycling centers. They are not sites for trash collection purposes. Those sites are actually run by grant funding from the state. They send us funds to be able to operate that facility, and the state is the one that says you can and can't take certain items. Some of those things in there are also from the county ordinance. For example, household trash, that's a state and county thing, because we had so many incidents where people were getting stuck by sharks. Then you've got animal issues out there, then you've got smells out there. I mean, it creates a safety issue for the workers there on site, and the state only provides funding for certain things. That's why we have a contract where we pay an actual contractor almost $4 million a year to do household collection at each residential dwelling.
And one problem the working man has when he works Monday through Fridays, and he gets off during the week, the landfill is closed. Saturdays might be something we may need to look at least maybe every other Saturday or something, try to look at the landfill and see what traffic it would generate if we were to open it every other Saturday or something. I mean, if it would help cut down the trash in the county on the roads, it would be well worth it. Maybe we just need to look at it.
And we need to figure out some way that people will know.
Yeah.
I mean, she sent me a list and now I know. Yeah. I didn't know till she sent me the list.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually on the sign.
It is. By the time you've loaded, but I'm saying if we can get it to the public before, because the time you've loaded your whole truckload up, you're already out there then.
Maybe we can get local paper to print an update on it.
Is there a website or something? What is on there?
And it's also, these lists of items are listed on the Columbus County Solid Waste website. And it's there for anybody to print off and take a look at. I do have some copies here. If y'all would like a copy, for your reference, take a look at. But it is on very large signs out there in the front of the facility as well, explaining what we can and can't take.
I mean, highlight it somehow on our county website. A lot of people might just go to our website and not know to go to the solid waste land site. So maybe there could be a bullet stating that, click on the following item to see what can be recycled and what cannot. And that would help.
Yeah, I think it would.
Yeah.
Good idea.
And if the sheriff's going to advertise, I mean, maybe we could pair up both departments.
Okay.
That way the public will know. Yeah.
Anything else, Commissioner Watts?
That's it.
Okay. Commissioner McDowell?
It must be a trash night, Mr. Chairman. Because I could actually share with you what I have here. I am concerned about the roads, and when it rains, everything floating up. However, I'm going to go to a different issue that I see, and that is people's yards. I have no idea where all the washing machines and ranges and dryers are coming from, but I mean, it's just a matter of people taking them out of their dwelling or wherever they're renting and putting it in the front yard and just leaving it there. When I first came on the board, Buddy will remember, maybe Rick, there was an issue at Pleasant Plains with a lot of old trailers, and I worked and actually got someone to volunteer helping to recycle those things. But it's kind of tough to recycle white goods in somebody's yard. I mean, we had permission from the owner that had that area, full of old mobile homes. I have been working with Mr. John Gaines, and I've come to this conclusion. We have more than he can do. He only comes one day a week, and he's having to do everything. I have worked with him for several years now on a site at Old Dock. I've worked with him for several years on a site not far from my home. And quite frankly, I have a suggestion and a proposal if you gentlemen would entertain it. Mr. Gaines spends a lot of his time doing something that is legwork, as I'll describe it. You get a complaint, you go out and you take a picture, then you see who owns the property, then you try to identify where they live, and then you generate a letter and you send it to them stating that they need to clean the place up. The only problem is we're paying him a lot more to do that when he could actually be out making contact with those folks and enforcing our ordinance, which I think needs to be tweaked as well, because we give people 180 days to respond, if I'm not mistaken, which is just a little bit too long because they may be gone. And quite frankly, I know of at least 3 areas where people, or free homes where people have just left. They fell behind probably because they were unemployed because of the pandemic, and they've just walked off and left those homes or those mobile homes. So my suggestion is that we look at adding someone to do the busy work, so to speak, and the lead work to the planning department. To allow Mr. Gaines, it would be cheaper, more responsible, I think, for the county to do that, to hire someone to do the quote legwork and allow him, when he's here, to do the actual investigating and contacting the folks. So basically what I'm saying, I'm asking 2 things. Number one, and I spoke with Miss Austin, I've called HUD, everybody calls you and they say, well, it's those HUD people. No, it's not, because I had 4 areas that I specifically asked about when I spoke to the director of HUD today, and none of those were involved in the HUD program. They were individuals. So that means that we can't blame HUD. Our environmental folks only inspect, 1 time a year if it's a registered mobile home park. 1 time a year is all they're responsible under our ordinance to inspect those areas. So I'm saying, and I'm asking, that we consider adding at least a part-time, if not a full-time person, to the planning department to do the necessary legwork to allow Mr. Gaines to do the investigation. The second thing I'm asking is that we look at our ordinance and tighten up the timeframes to where we don't give someone 180 days to take action, and then a 90-day, if I'm not mistaken, it's 90 days for them to appeal it. You're looking at almost a year before anything's done. So the trash on the road is important. I could carry you several places and show you couches in yards that have been there for weeks, if not months, refrigerators, stoves, and it's all over the county. It's not just in my district, I'm sure. I'm sure it's everywhere. So those are my 2 requests, to look at adding, and I asked Ms. Alsop to put that in her budget today. I said it may be turned down, but we need it. And the second thing is for us to look at our ordinance and see if we can't tighten up the time frame. Sheriff, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I mean, if you give somebody a year, the people that are renting it will be gone. And you start the process all over again and nothing gets done. So those are my 2 requests.
Instead of it being a part-time, I
Make it
feel like
full-time.
it should be a full-time.
Well, I was not
And
going to
they
go.
could help Mr. Gaines or whatever, or just have one man does it all.
I agree. And that person could have other responsibilities as well. I mean, as an example, if he's out if he gets a complaint and he's going to a residence on, I'll use my road, 7 Creeks Highway, and he sees garbage on the side of the road, then he can document that and contact the sheriff's department. I would love for us to do that, Sheriff. That is a wonderful idea, and that's where I'm going. You'll put it in your budget? Thank you, sir.
That'd be good.
Take care of that problem.
Yeah, we need it. We really, really do.
Good solve. Commissioner Coleman.
One more thing, if I may.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to ask Miss Gale if she would to contact Mr. Ken Clark. I understand it may be unofficial at this
Chris,
point in
he's
time,
almost
but they're
done.
actually looking at putting in a bridge, or at least putting it on the list to put in a bridge on Dock Road at Crusoe to alleviate some of that flooding. if you don't mind just contacting him and ask him to keep us informed as to what that timeline might be. I understand it's probably years out, down the road, but I feel like we should know. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. I got Commissioner Chris Smith on the phone. He's got some concerns he would like to share with the commissioners. So I'm gonna let him go ahead of you, Mr. Coleman, and I'm gonna put him on speakerphone. Commissioner Smith, you're on speakerphone. If you'd like to address us with your concerns, please, sir. Try it again.
Can everybody hear me?
Barely, but we're here. We hear you.
Put him on speaker.
Put him on speaker.
I got him on speakerphone.
There you go.
Try it again.
Ricky, first off, I'd like to thank all of you for the card of thoughtfulness for me and my family.
You're welcome.
It's greatly appreciated. And I'm not at the meeting, but we have to do what we have to do sometimes. But anyway, I've got two issues that people brought up to me. I'd like to make a motion to reopen our senior exercise center. Simply because, it was the first dose of shots were 75 and up, and most seniors have had both doses. A lot of the 65 and up have had them.
Okay, the ones that would like to go could go, and the ones that are uncomfortable could still remain at home.
Absolutely. But a lot of people are ready to reopen.
Okay.
It's been tough weather for them to walk, exercise, and they're ready to reopen.
And I understand you have had a lot of people bring this to your attention.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have a
Yes,
motion on the floor by Commissioner Chris Smith to reopen the exercise centers. Here a second.
A second.
Have a second by Commissioner Coleman. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
When will that take place, Chairman?
We'll let Ms. Edwards start getting the directors, updated on this, and so putting it together. It may be a week or so, but she'll start working on it tomorrow. Anything, Ms. Edwards?
Can I just clarify, is it the whole senior center or just the exercise where they go to exercise? Are you looking at?
You want the whole senior center or all of them throughout the county,
exercise.
or just exercise?
Just exercising.
Just exercise. Okay.
Are they going to present any kind of evidence that they've been treated and you're not putting?
I think the directors could come up with a plan to keep it as safe as possible with wearing a mask or something.
We recommend that they wear a mask and we will still social distance.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Commissioner Smith, what's next?
Okay, and this might need some discussion. I've had a lot of complaints about our recycling centers. They're all closed the same day. And people drive to each one of them, every one of them's closed.
We have discussed that in length tonight, and we even have Miss Amanda here from the water and trash department. I think maybe we can get a response on what we can do by the next meeting. Okay. Anytime.
That's all I have, Chairman.
Well, look, you're in our prayers, you and your wife, from all the commissioners, and I'm sure all the other people that hears you here on the phone, and take care of her, and we'll be here if you need us.
Okay.
I'll call you back at closed session.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you, Mr. Coleman. You're next.
Well, I've got two things. I'd like to thank everybody for all the help that you've given me over the past couple of 3 months at getting geared into this new job. I appreciate that. But I've got some complaints about speed limit on the Niels Eddy Road in the Acme area. That's a crooked road. It's got a lot of driveways coming in on it, and the speed limit right now is 55 miles an hour. But then when it breaks into Brunswick County, it'll drop that back to 45. So I'd like to make a motion, if we can, to send a memorandum to the DOT to get them to lower that speed limit to 45, to match, at least match the speed limit on the Brunswick County side, to help the folks, if we can, to get a little bit safer on that road.
Okay.
And then, try to get highway patrol or somebody in there to help patrol that area and kind of put a sting in it to start with to help get it under control.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Coleman on the Neil Eddy Road,
Neil Eddy.
Neil Eddy Road
Yes.
in Acme Delco to reduce the speed limit from 55 to 45, and he's asking for amendment to be sent to the DOT.
I'll second that.
Have a second by Commissioner Byrd. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I forgot something very important.
Yes, sir.
I don't know where any of you have found out or heard or anything, but Mr. Raymond Shaw, who served on the Board of Education for many years, passed away recently. And I just feel like that we should send some kind of proclamation of appreciation to the family, because I don't know how, you served with him.
I served with Mr. Shaw for about 12 years on school.
I'm not sure how many years he did serve, but a long, long time. And was one of those individuals in the 90s, but I think he went to Robeson County or Bladen County and got his shot. But I got the call, I think Wednesday or Thursday last week, that he had passed. So I put it in the form of a motion that we do a proclamation of appreciation for his years service to Columbus County Board of Education. Be
Have a
presented
motion.
to the family.
Have a motion by Commissioner Byrd that we do a proclamation of appreciation
Second that motion.
from the commissioners to his family. Have a second by Commissioner McMillan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
One other thing, you're talking about the planning, that's his sister, that's 87 years old, has been calling me every meeting. She'll call me tomorrow because she wants to deed her property, and Miss Alsop's office won't put stamp of approval. And, at 87, Mr. Chairman, you don't have a lot of time to waste.
Yeah.
And, I feel like I don't know where this board has the authority to ask Ms. Alsop to go ahead and let her do it, because we got to change our ordinance. But now she's not talking about selling it to anybody else. She wants to give it to her children. But if you remember, Mr. Coleman, what they're talking about is they got to survey it and have a surveyed easement to the child that's going to get the one in the back. And I just feel like that we're being too stringent on that, Mr. Chairman.
Where are we at on that?
Right where we were the first night we discussed it.
We're actually nowhere, but
I've looked into it, and a lot of that is by statute, state statute, not just the local ordinance. Our local ordinance is just in line with the state statute.
And I couldn't understand you with Damascus.
I'm sorry. A lot of that has to do with state statute, and is controlled by state statute as opposed to just our ordinance.
Or any way we could amend that statute to
Miss
help our
Alsop,
people, help our citizens.
Miss Alsop had requested to give her a little time, and she was going to tweak those ordinance and bring them back to us. So maybe Miss Edwards or Miss Prince, you could check with her and see if she's to the point she can bring some.
I certainly would like to have something at our next meeting, because
At least on this one issue.
Yeah, at least on this one
Where
issue.
we can change it.
Mr. Chairman, if we're
It's still
doing
an
that,
issue because I still get complaints on it too.
Yes, sir.
if that's the case, could we also get her to bring us our abandoned structure ordinance at the same time, so we would all have a copy of it, so we could look at adjusting that as well?
Yes, sir. So we're asking Miss Edwards for her to bring the abandoned ordinance Edwards to us, and the changing from property owners without being required to be
And the nuisance and the abandoned structure.
both ordinance. Okay, we'll have them on the next meeting.
Ms. Lanier has something.
Yes, sir.
I was just gonna follow up from having past experience with that. If she's gonna convey it to, say, 3 children with an undivided interest, that may not be an issue. But if one of them's got a place at the back, you gotta have an access easement under state law. You cannot landlock a piece of land. So she may wanna divide it into 2 pieces, but if that back piece is going to one of the children, it's gotta have a deeded easement to get to that back piece. That's just state statute. Am I not correct with that? And that could be where the problem is.
Okay. Well, let her come forth, and maybe she'll know all the details of it, and we'll work with her. Okay. Let's see, where are we at? County Attorney.
Your turn.
Your turn.
I'm good. I think we covered the trash and I have one note to hear about that, and so I'm good.
I don't have anything at this time, Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you.
Gary's got something else.
Miss Edwards, you have anything else? So we're good?
Gary has something.
Okay, Mr.
I
Lanier.
just gonna mention one thing about the, water. You know, people say, I want water, but they're not going and putting $150 down. But my question is, have we thought about, because a lot of things is dollars and cents for people. You know, everybody's got limited funds. But have we reached out and had a typical, say, $50,000 home, $100,000 home, $150,000 home, and asked the insurance agent, how much will the annual policy cost drop if there's a fire hydrant within a mile of a residence? And I bet you it's gonna be more than that. For some homes, it's gonna liable to be more than that $150 deposit. That could be enough to get somebody to go down to public utilities and stroke that check and get on the list and drive these projects forward. It's just a thought.
And one thing that is lowering the homeowner's fire insurance more than anything is the rating of the fire department.
You're right.
Yeah.
They give a drastically cut in the fire ratings. If the fire department lowers their ratings, and I know Roseland and Williams Township just lowered their ratings, and we got to bring them to the board and recognize them. That's one thing that all departments need to work towards. It's good. Thank you, sir. Okay, this time we're going to move on into closed session in accordance with North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A, 5I, real estate, and 6 personnel. And I also have a need to add 143-318-11A9 to closed session for public safety briefing from our sheriff. Do we hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Millen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. 5 minutes recess.
Excuse me,